Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Sunday, February 2nd. We're going to take a look at ChargePoint today. So ChargePoint continuing to sort of, clock in some new lows, as you can see there. And I thought I'd come take a look and just sort of see, what is interesting to me before we get super into the chart. There seems to me to be sort of like a steady drip of like relatively decent news coming through on ChargePoint. And I don't know if it is, um, or maybe it's a combination of these things, but I don't know if it is just sort of like this long storied, really sad stock price history, right? The performance of the stock having been so beleaguered for so long. I don't know if it's that and or the sort of influence or the shadow, the tall, long shadow that Tesla and their charging apparatus and infrastructure casts. Maybe it is both, but I'm almost a little bit surprised that there isn't a little bit more bullish interest, that some of these news items aren't more interesting to investors, but it seems to not be at the moment. At the moment, I even found some news stories. I pulled them up separately, and I had looked at like the ChargePoint Reddit or subreddit, and yeah, there are these questions out there of like, why aren't some of these things moving the needle on ChargePoint? And yeah, I don't know, but for some reason, my guess would be the two things that I named, just that it's been such a poor performer for so long. It's either like off people's radar or they've, put it into this bucket of like hopeless penny stocks. And people just sort of being so, I don't know, whatever about Tesla, so fanboyish around Tesla that they can't see anything or anyone competing with it. I don't know, but maybe it's neither of those. I'm not sure, but in any case, to the chart. So chart wise, these are the fib extension levels to the downside that I have. It is wrestling with this like 97-ish cent level at the moment. You see it working off of here the last several days, getting a little bit of a punch above and then a little bit of a dip below and punch back above, dip back below, but always continuously returning to that level. So to me, the battle right now is the battle for 97 cents, right? Is 97 going to become resistance? 97 going to become support? And it may not clear that in a quick period of time. It might take several trading days, maybe even weeks, to consolidate around that range and then make a decision. But that to me looks like the big battleground at the moment. Now to the upside, if it were to move 117 and then 150, look like the strongest levels to me. There's certainly one here too around say like 127, 128 probably. Didn't come up on the fib, which doesn't matter. But if it starts to move in that direction, we'll put in more clear guidance around those levels. But these are just sort of like goalposts at the moment. But there's huge percentage ranges in between those, obviously. If it does continue to get dippy below 97, 80 or 81 cents is a potential support level, and then 64 cents would be the level that I have below that. If we pull in the EMAs here, we can see, if we zoom in enough, we can see that it's wrestling with the 8 at the moment. It's had a really tough time even getting to the 21 recently, right? It's just failed, failed, couldn't even reach it. Couple of brief blips above the 34 toward the end of last year, but nothing that could sustain any productive bullish motion at all. Just failure after failure after failure. The 183 EMA just racing down, right? Getting just dragged down very, very quickly by all of the bearish pressure at the moment. So we'll see at what point that becomes a factor in all of this, but who knows? If it stabilizes a bit, maybe it happens sooner than later. But if it continues to just get pressed, then maybe we don't get there at all. I don't know. But volume wise, where it is right now, it's sort of like last bastion of hope. These aren't even strong shelves here, obviously, but you would expect pretty thin price action because, and this is only here even because it's been sort of batting itself around this level for a few trading days. If it hadn't been doing that, there'd be almost no shelf here at all because there wouldn't be any previous volume to be sort of accumulating through this range. But there is a huge wall there then that it would get into around like 106 or so, and it would, in air quotes, let's say it would get through it around, say, 112, but then it just hits another pretty decent sized wall, and then another one up like above 125 or so. And the stop in between is nothing to sneeze at either. So, just to say from a chart perspective, from particularly this volume positioning perspective, there's a lot of selling potential situated above, for where folks might be looking to unload. But who knows? Maybe some folks see this price point under $1 as a good buying opportunity and jump in there. I don't know. A little less than a third of total shares are profitable at this moment as of close. That was actually close on Thursday, is the last data that's available here in Webull. But yeah, the average cost per share that Webull has, 111. So, anything up here has mostly been unloaded, and then folks were sort of seeming to want to come in at 150 and below. I'm even surprised that there's 32% total profited shares. That's actually kind of surprising. Some large scale orders coming in toward the end of last week. We'll see if that plays any factor. I had seen, actually, I think this was on the ChargePoint subreddit, them talking about insiders offloading shares. I don't know, maybe they had more up-to-date info than this. That's quite likely because this is more than a month old at this point. But there were some additions in here through December of 2024. So I don't know if those had something to do with some granting of stock or options, as sort of like a year-end kind of thing. I don't know. So I don't know if those were sort of electively purchased or if those were sort of purchased by the company and granted out. I'm not sure. But, there are some pluses here. But yeah, I certainly see, the cells in here. And it is kind of interesting. The reason I bring that up is because it's sort of weird to, on the 3rd of December, this person, for example, Richard Wilmer, to add 2.16 million and then offload 25, almost 26,000 just a few weeks later. So that's why I was sort of wondering if these were just some sort of like purchase and then grant that was offered by the company, and not sort of those people electing into I'm gonna increase my my holdings here because there's some good news happening or something like that. On the Thinkorswim side of things, trigger and fire here in the TTM squeeze indicator, nothing really happening. That is sort of par for the course. You see a slew of triggers and fires, and it's just sort of been this slow bleed down. So nothing really tremendously happening there, but maybe all of those triggers and fires are sort of accumulating some sort of buildup for some major move in the future. I don't know, but it's been just sort of nothing but a prolonged waiting game at this point for any motion to start to take place. So is it coming? I don't know, but there's this gap up here too, just so I don't forget to mention it. This fills at, I might as well just get the actual number. This would fill at 166. So if it does stretch to that 150, that 150 up here got the partial fill, right? The high of 150 this day, but it has another decent stretch to go, at least percentage-wise, before it would complete that fill. So I don't know if it has the gusto to make it there at some point, but that is there just to be aware of, I guess. All right, folks, so I hope that you've had a good weekend and that you have a great trading week ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.